A lot of people talking about how there was a shift in tone from China in terms of perhaps easing off zero COVID. The latest cues perhaps not as sanguine.
Yeah, it was relatively recently that China was talking about easing up on some of the most restrictive control measures. It was only about a week ago, and yet what we are seeing on the ground in the country now is a rise in the virus caseload. About 27,300 cases were reported on Monday. That is just shy of the previous record of 28,973, which was reached in April when the Shanghai outbreak led to a surge in infections. In this current wave, it's Guangzhou that is the epicenter with the bulk of infections. China's top health officials are vowing to stick to COVID zero. Beijing is telling local governments to implement those updated guidelines and not be excessive when it comes to controls, but still we are seeing these measures being put back into place. Nomura, as you mentioned at the top, Lisa, says roughly 20% of China's economy is currently being affected by restrictions. Even though we aren't seeing citywide lockdowns being ordered, about 48 cities are subject to some form of district level or widespread movement restrictions, and local authorities in big cities have also reintroduced measures like expanded testing and closing schools and offices. So as a result, Nomura says the path to reopening in China is going to be slow, painful, and bumpy, and they only expect GDP growth of about 4.3% in the country next year. No surprise, all of that has started to weigh on market sentiment. We all had been clinging to optimism about the reopening of this economy. Chinese tech stocks in particular, a really good example of that frenzy in the first half of this month. From the beginning of November through the 15th, the Hang Seng Tech Index rallied 33%. But in recent days, as the headlines have started to shift, we have seen some of those gains given back. Now only up about 23% on the month. And of course, that's carrying through to some of those ADRs of those big tech companies that are listed here in the U.S., Lisa.